Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today I've got an unboxing and first impressions video for you. We're going to be taking a look at one of the pens that my wife gifted me during Inkvent of 2022. And that's in this box. So we've got a plain white top. On the side, we now know what we're getting. We're getting a PenBBS. The model's 323. Looking at this, it's an extra fine nib. It's going over. Then we've got the box. So let's open the box. We've got PenBBS. Standard PenBBS box. It's black. You know, it just protects the pen. Part of me wishes they didn't send out these boxes because I don't keep them. I get rid of them. I'd be quite happy with getting a pen that's just wrapped in bubble wrap. Reduce some of the packaging maybe. Let's take a look at what we've got there. So we open up. The first thing here, this looks like a rollerball or a ballpoint type nib. So you can actually change the nib and it comes with that. Let's ease the pen out. Then we've got black foam and then we've got the pen mat at the bottom. So I'll pop that away. Nothing else in there. Move that to one side. I'm going to move this to one side as well. It's a sealed bag, so I can't take it out. I will be honest, I don't intend to use that. Let's fetch in a pen rest and we'll take the pen out of the bag. So here we've got the PenBBS 323. The colour of this is called Mocha, so it's this gorgeous brown colour. Brown coloured pen means it'll be brown inks, and I've got a really nice brown ink to put into this when we fill it. Let's take a quick look through the pen body. So we start at the top. We've got slight dome on the top coming to a point in that same brown metal. This is it's all metal pen. I think it's aluminium. We come down into the cap. So the cap, it tapers out until it gets to about 3/4 of the way down. Then it starts to taper back in again. There is no clip on this pen. So just turn it around. So as we come down, we've got a very, very slight drop off down to the body. You can hardly feel it. We then come into the body. The body again bulges out, then comes in, and then starts to go out again until we get to the end. There we've got another pointed end. Very simple looking. I like the way it's got this shape to it. Is it an undulation? A bit like a wave, isn't it? That to me looks quite attractive. It's different than most of my other pens. Most of my other pens, they're just like tubes. Let's take the cap off. So the cap comes off. In. Let's do that again. Let's take the cap off. So we go. It's hard to actually count the number of turns. So I'm going to put my finger here. So there's half. Swap again. That's one turn. That's about 1.5 turns. We take this off. The section, continuing with that metal, continuing with that colour. And then we reveal the PenBBS nib. Here we go. PenBBS there. Now, I'm just going to pick this up to see if I can see if it's a fine or an extra fine. So I've looked at the nib. I can't see anything saying what size the nib is. My wife, who bought this for me, she told me she'd ordered a fine one, but the box says extra fines, so we'll get a better idea when we write with it. It's a nice PenBBS nib. Looks like it's small though. It doesn't look like it's a number 6 size nib. It looks more like a number 5. When we do the size comparison, I will fetch in a pen with a number 6 nib just to see what it looks like. In the hand, the pen feels quite nice. It's got a nice length, and this is where you can see where the pattern is made. So we're bulging out in the gap between my finger and my thumb, but then it comes back in so it sits nicely there, so it doesn't feel uncomfortable. Will the pen post? Not really. It will go over, but it doesn't join on, so it's not a pen to post. Take the body off. Inside there, we've got a PenBBS converter. It looks quite nice, doesn't it? Let me pop it all back together. Let's swap over and we'll do some size comparisons. So with my two standard pens, we've got Pilot Metropolitan, we've got the Lamy Safari. This pen, about the same length. Not much in it really, is there? Let's take the caps off and look at them unposted. Unposted, well, there's still not a lot in it, but you can start to see a difference. The Lamy Safari, we're talking millimetres longer, and then the Pilot Metropolitan, maybe 5 millimetres shorter. If we look at the nibs, we can see here that the nib does look longer. I'm still not 100% convinced it's a number 6 nib. Let's just get the Pilot and Lamy out of the way. I'll fetch in a pen with a number 6 nib. The pen that I've just brought in, this is a Narwhal Schuylkill. This has got a number 6 Yoho nib on it. Looking at these, yeah, it could actually be a number 6 nib. It does look very similar in size. Something I'm not really bothered about at the moment, but may come in if this is an extra fine nib and I don't enjoy it. I may want to swap the nib for, a medium or a broad. I've got a number of those laying around that could easily go on there, assuming it is a number 6 nib. What I'm going to do now is step away from the desk. I'm going to give the pen a good clean out. When I come back, we'll put some ink in it, do a writing sample, then I'll give you my first impressions. So the pen's been cleaned. I do that with all my new pens. Just means I've got the best chance of getting rid of any excess gunk, any ink that may have been put in there for testing at the factory and stuff like that. The ink I'm going to use today is by Dominant Industry. It's a standard ink and it's called Lungo. So it's a nice brown. So I thought let's put a Lungo, which I think is a type of coffee, in a mocha, which is also a type of coffee. Let's take the cap off. There we go. Plunges all the way down to the bottom. In it goes. Now I'm trying to move my hand out of the way just so you can see the ink going in. So I've just done it once and it's virtually full. So I don't need to do another up and down, which is what I tend to do. Sometimes I go up 2 or 3 times just to get a good fill. But here, once was all that was needed. Now, I've wiped off any excess. I'll just pop the pen back together. Let's get rid of the ink. Here's the notepad of testing. This is Oxford Optic paper. I try to use this for all my first impressions videos. A5 notebook. Let's just move it over slightly. Take the cap off and we'll write. So we've got here a PenBBS 323. Yeah, it is an extra fine nib. My wife paid 53 Australian dollars for this. The ink is Dominant Industry Lungo. Drying times, so we go immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, that's nice and dry. Going to move the mic to the page so you can hear the pen writing. The nib feels stiff. It's not scratchy. For an extra fine nib, I usually expect them to be scratchy. This isn't. It's nice and smooth. Fairly thin line. Again, this is very much a personal preference. I like broad nibs. Let's look for any line variations. So, no pressure. Let's add some pressure. So I can get a slightly wider line with pressure. Then my S's, so there's no pressure. With pressure. Yeah, you can see a little bit of a difference, but not a lot. Flow. That keeps up quite nicely, doesn't it? So what are my first impressions of this pen and ink? One of the first things I notice, because there's no clip on the pen, there's no roll stop. A few times I put it down and you can see that it starts to roll by itself. I might be able to put something on there to act as a roll stop, but that's one thing I have to be aware of. Although saying that, it's a metal pen, so if it should drop on the floor, don't think I'm going to damage the pen body too much. It's an extra fine nib. It's actually quite nice. It wasn't scratchy. The line is a bit too thin for me, but I may be able to work on that over the next few weeks. Is it Doug Rathbun with his 7 lines of Inky Joy? I may give that a try, see if that will help with the width of the line. It's still nice though. I mean, you can still see the colour of the ink. The ink looks like it's got a little bit of shading coming through, you know, on the P, on the Y, top of the G there, on this J, on the Q, so there is something there. Flow keeps up really nicely. That's really all I want with a pen, is I want a pen that I can pick up and write. I don't want to mess around with it. I don't want to have to get the ink flowing. I just want it to work. I love this colour, this brown colour. I surprised myself about 2 years ago because I quite like brown inks. I never thought I would do. If you'd told me that just over 2 years ago, I'd have called you all sorts of stupid. I think having a brown pen, that's going to really match a lot of the brown inks that I have. And I think with this Lungo, I think we've got quite a good match. As I said earlier, you know, I believe Lungo is a style of coffee. So is Mocha, so I think they can match really well. All in all, really happy. This is a really nice looking pen. Feels nice to write with. It's not scratchy, but there's a nice feedback. Again, I like feedback. I like the tactile nature of feedback, because to me that's part of the joy of writing with a fountain pen. So it's my first impressions of the PenBBS 323 with Dominant Industry Lungo. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Have you got a PenBBS 323? Have you been able to swap its nib with a number 6 style nib, maybe a Yoho nib, because I know they're the ones I've got laying around? Please drop your comments down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.